Good morning, guys. It's 11:29 a.m. Nigerian time. Today, earlier on, I promised I'm gonna be going through Paystack, Flutterwave, and how they work. But before we can get to that, I would like you guys to understand how Kivy can communicate with a Flask framework. Yeah, I've been getting information from people. I do a YouTube tutorial on that, and let's see how that works. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can get information from a Flask or a Django framework. But today I'm going to be dealing with Flask alone. Maybe some other time today I can go for Django. If I didn't do any Django today, that will be tomorrow. All right. So I have a Kivy app here named Kivy Django. This is the normal setup, and this is the URL to my Flask server. As you can see, my Flask server is here and is up and running. So yeah. So first off, this is how you build your Flask app. It's as simple as a Python code, right? How many lines of code? One, two, three, four, five, six. 6 lines of code is already good enough to get you started. All right. Now you have here, you imported Flask, right? We have the Flask object. Now we instantiated the Flask object and assigned name, which is the current model we are working on. This is the Python 5 model, right? This is the main model of the Python 5, right? The main. If you print the name, it's going to give you the string main. Have you ever seen something like this? If name, yeah, equals main, right? Oh god, can I type right? All right. If this is the value of the name in this name, right? Now we have the app route. The remember the Flask object instantiated and we got the app, right? App is equals to Flask. Now app.route will take us whenever we type in let me go to my browser. I think the file the Flask server is still running. Now whenever I type in the local address, come on. Yeah, 127.0.0.0.1 dot 5000. Yeah. So on a normal, you should go and learn how Flask works, right? I won't be teaching you guys that, right? So the Flask object of the index route, right? The root route will take us to this page. So now when we get back to our app, right? So we have the slash here, and this returns hello world from Flask. Yeah, hello from Flask. As you can see on the browser, we got no refresh. Oh, I didn't put debugging is equals to true, guys. Ah, ah. So it has been running without, when I changed it, it didn't change, right? So we have to wait for this to properly. Yeah, good. So the debugging is okay right now. I think right now we should be getting hello from Flask. Why are you wasting my time? Did the route change? The route did not change. Ah. Okay, guys, I'm going to pause this video and see what is going on. Definitely it is working. I just don't know. The Python interpreter wasn't able to stage the Flask or whatever. I don't know. It was wasting time behind the scene. So I'm getting my hello from Flask, right? Now let's see how we can apply this thing to Kivy. First off, I created a project beforehand, right? Yeah. This is a simple project, Kivy Django project. Now I initialize the URL variable to be the Flask server address. Now, when I go to my KV code, which is on the build method, so I have a box layout, label, text inputs, buttons. I got like 5 buttons. Let's run this application and see how it looks like entirely. Yeah, I know you would waste my time while starting up. It's not my case. Thank you very much. Yeah, so this is how the application looks like right now. If I should click this get string, I'm going to get the hello from Flask. How did I get that? So in this get string, I created the get Flask string and assigned LBL. That is this label. I passed the LBL argument to it. Then I created the main function, the method in the app object. The app object is the Kivy Django app, right? So I did a URL request. Now I passed in the server address. On success method is the one that does the setting attribute. So like when the server did not fail, right, it returned hello from Flask or whatever thing from the server successfully. This code should run. For those of you who don't know, this is a lambda function. Lambda function allows you to create function instantly on a one line without needing the def function. Is like an instant use of a function. You don't need to kind of like create how do I put it? You're performing a simple task, right? You don't need to create a bigger function, like defining a function for that. You just use this. So this is normally used when you want to do stuff like callback, right? So there is a callback method here, which is on success, right? And on success has the initial value of it returns the URL request. I put the underscore sign here to show you that I don't need it. So I created a non-usable variable. Then I moved over here, which is the value. The value is what it returns from the server, right? Which is the hello from Flask server. Then I use the set attribute to set the attribute of LBL, the text attribute of the label object to value. Let me do something like this so that you don't get entirely confused. It's something as saying LBL the text is equals to value. It's just the same thing, right? So no difference. So, but if you are dealing with a lambda function, you can't say lbl.text is equals to no, it won't work. You need to pass in a function there, or a callable object, or just an object, anything that has a braces, a bracket around it. If it doesn't have brackets, it's not going to work. It's going to give you an error. So I will advise you to go and learn more on Lambda. I won't be teaching that in this cup. So my job is to teach you how you can communicate with server, the Flask server. Now this is the first step. We have entirely done that. Now moving on to the second step is getting a JSON. So I'm going to create on release button here, right? On release and say app.get JSON. Get Flask JSON, right? And then I'll still pass LBL into it, right? And then here I'm going to do stuff like this. Get Flask JSON. Oh god. Then pass in my LBL label object. Oh god, this is a Flask. All right, then I will have something like URL request, passing my URL, and then on success be on the lambda and value. Now since I'm returning a JSON, I don't know, for example, I don't know if it's going to give me a JSON direct, or is it going to give me a dictionary direct, or is it going to dump it into a string? But first, we are going to check that. Let's do something like this. No, 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 no. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to first of all print the value, and then I'm going to print the type of the value. Let's know whether it is a string or a JSON, so that we can be able to know how we can handle this stuff. And then we will route this to we'll route it to JSON, right? Yeah. I think I have already put a slash in front of this. Yeah, no need for extra slash. So this is something as saying URL blah blah blah, then JSON here, right? So it's something I just did below. Then let's go to our Flask server. Then we are going to add up, right? Let me give you one more liner. Right, app the route dot route. Then I'll say JSON and then define a JSON string, JSON function, and return this. uh, is JSON. Just a dictionary, right? Good. Let's see if that works. Now I'm going to run my Flask app. What does it mean by a little slash should be here? Sorry, guys. So on a normal, if you're creating a Flask server, you're looking for an API that will return either a string or a JSON on a normal basics, right? You don't need any other extra HTML stuff. If you're building an app that has both a website and a mobile app, I would advise you to put a header on your Kivy URL request that says this is mobile, so that it doesn't return the HTML page for you. You have to handle that on the server. All right, now let's get back to this. And first off, I'm going to check if my okay, yeah, it's running fine. And let's see what this will return for us on the server side. Yeah, so as you can see, you saw this JSON string here. It returned the formatted JSON string here. And then when we run this on Kivy, Kivy, let's see what we got here. I'm going to stop this and rerun code again. Sorry, I'm not using Hot Reloader. From next video, I'm going to be making use of that anyway. So, get string. Now let's see what we have here. Yeah, it gets the dictionary, right? And now it says class dict, right? So what we entirely need to do is to convert this to a string. You can easily convert it to a string by saying, let's put the type here. Let's just put string in front of it, right? And then get string. So we have a string there. Let's use an actual string, because I converted that. I don't know how it looks like. So let's see. Get JSON. So it's still an actual string. Or you can use the JSON from JSON import dump. So inside this dump, you can pass in the, like, do something like this, dump. No, that should be, dump is to dump a dictionary. I mean, is it? Yeah, dump. Sorry, dumps. I think it's dumps. So use this object. You can pass the dictionary here, blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, something like this. So, but definitely this is a very long process. We don't want that. So, let's use the inbuilt function that we already have here, and then say something like set attribute LBL, and then we pass in the text object, the text parameter, or the text property variable, whatever. And then we convert this to a string and pass in the value inside of it, right? And then we finally get to run our code, and boom, boom, we're all getting this from the server, right? So this is how you can communicate with your server. And where do you host this server? You can host it on Heroku, heroku.com. Or you can even, I think GitHub has a way of hosting Flask App. I don't know. You can host it on Heroku. This is the spelling of Heroku, or Python Anywhere. I know my browser normally hangs around. You can host it. Yeah, I don't know how to host things on Heroku. You can do a quick YouTube tutorial on that, and you get how to do that up and running. Or you can go for Python. Let me do it on Google. Come on. Python Anywhere. You can easily do it here, right? I normally use this almost every application that I've built with Kivy. The server end, I used to host them here on Python Anywhere. So Python Anywhere is a good deal. You can check that out and see how you can host your applications on Python Anywhere. Maybe during the course of my next tutorial video on Django, I'll be showing you guys how that works. But for now, check it out yourself. So let's continue, and then the next one is how can we post a file, like push a file to the server, right? How can we do that? There are two ways. Is either use a request. Normally I hate using requests because you have to deal with dependencies while compiling it to Android application. Like you have to import the request, and then you have to handle the threading yourself. You have to use a thread. As you can see, when I was running this code, it wasn't freezing because URL request is inheriting from a thread method. Kivy already handles that for you behind the scene. You don't need to thread anything, but for the request itself, you have to thread it. URL request, you don't need to thread it. So for this, I'm going to start first with the post, the Kivy, no, the the normal Python request. All right, so from request, import post, and get. So I did this before we move to that file on. I did this with the Kivy URL request. Let me show you how you can easily do it with normal Python requests, right? So you can easily do something like this. Use the get method, not the post method, and then put the self that you are first of all, let me see the actual attributes involved. So you have the parameters, data headers. We don't need that. So you pass in the URL, and then self.url. Since it is the first parameter, that you can just pass in self.url, and we are going to return something from it. Let's say, let's name this request, right? And then say request dot text. So we're going to call lbl.text and easily assign this to it. The same thing goes to this get, and the f variable, why type it out, Stack Overflow method, and paste it in here, right? And then say request. Don't use the s, right? Just don't put the s. The s is for the main library. And then say lbl.text is equals to request text. This text will return whatever that is coming from the server. Remember, I think this one will return a JSON. It's It has JSON, right? So if you use the JSON, it's going to give you the dictionary, but if you use the text, it's going to convert the dictionary to a string. Let's run this code. Assuming I'm running this on the internet, you'll notice the lagging a little bit because it's going to block the main thread. As you can see, it's formatted that we don't want it to format it, right? We want just the most string. It went ahead and formatted it. Anyway, this is it. This is it, guys. So or you can do the JSON, right? And then convert it to a string. So, but mind you, this is very fast because I'm running it on a local host. Imagine when your internet is slow, yeah, you've pushed it to a server, you have to use a thread. Like, oh god. You have to use a thread and then call this one with a main thread to push it to the. You should know how you. Let me show you guys anyway. So, what you have to do is when you call this, let me do the threading inside of my Kivy. Hashtag import thread from threading dot thread, right? And I'll go down here and say thread target is equals to this, right? Dot start. So you need to pass this, sorry. You need to pass this as an argument, right? And say x is equals to this. Yep, do the same for this badass motherfucker. Target is equals to this. Args is equals to this. Then start the thread. Yeah, I think if we run this, it's still going to. Yeah, label object is not iterable. What do you mean by label object is not iterable? Um, uh, so why did he say that? Oh, sorry. This when I did it this way, it thought I'm passing in just a normal. eh, It's looking for a tuple, not an object, right? So you have to put a comma there to tell it this is a tuple, right? Good. So, but in normal, you shouldn't update your Kivy widgets outside of the main thread. It might work for you this way because this is a label. Label has to deal with the SDL stuff that doesn't normally affect the UI entirely, but I would advise you not to do that. Uh, this one works too. But what you can do is after calling it with a thread, you go ahead here and use clock, right? That let me import this clock. Give it a clock that schedule words, right? And then use a lambda function here. Lambda function, then parsing this. Let me say because I don't know how many arguments it will return. I don't know because when you call a clock, it's going to it has extra arguments which we're not using, right? Then I'm going to say star something like this and use set attribute. So let me show you something. If I say lbl dot text, notice it's already giving us some kind of stupid error which uh we are not expecting, right? So it says unresolved, whatever. What we are going to actually do is to use an attribute, set attribute. Then say lbl dot text. Oh, sorry, lbl. Then the property, and then assign request dot text. The same thing goes for the badass down there. So we are going to use JSON, right? No, let's use text. I don't have time to start converting it to a string. Yo, 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 yo. So as you can see that, bah, bah, bah. So how many seconds is this video already? This video is about 26 minutes right now. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to do another video on how to handle posting of files, right? I'm going to still do it right now, but I don't want the video to go a very long way. In no, just in case you want to separate things, right? So see you on my next video. That will be posting a file and what's that day? Post file, post string, how you can post string, post JSON, like push something to the server, right? So and that's it. Where's my